order. If you would, please all rise, and I'm going to ask Commissioner Orenstein to lead us in the invocation and the pledge.
Bow your heads with us, please. Heavenly Father, Lord, we come to you this evening so grateful for the many blessings of life, Lord, our community, just the season of the birth of your Son, Lord. We thank you for all those things. We thank you for those who are here tonight, Lord, and their care and commitment to our community, Lord. We just ask your blessings upon this meeting and all that we do and say here tonight, Lord. Give us wisdom and discernment. We'll give you the honor and glory. In Jesus' name, amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Commissioners, inside your packet, you'll find your minutes of the work session of November the 12th and your regular session minutes of November the 13th. If there are no additions, deletions, or corrections, I'll entertain a motion to approve those minutes.
Motion to approve.
We have a motion to approve. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. Any discussion on the minutes? Hearing none, I'll call the vote. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, like sign. Hearing none, the motion carries. Our first agenda item 5A is a public hearing, and this is REZ 2018-17, the Settlement North, located at 5999 Valdale Road. The request is from EA to R1 as well in septic, and this involves 98.95 acres. Ms. Stevenson?
Thank you, sir. Staff has nothing to add to yesterday's report, sir.
Okay. Any questions for Ms. Stevenson? Okay. Hearing none, we'll move into the public participation portion of the public hearing meeting. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak in opposition to this request? Please come forward and state your name and address for the record, please.
Yes, my name is James Kelty. I live at 5898 Valdale Road, just directly across the street, kind of catty corner from the proposed R1 zone. My main concern is that area, you said it's 98 acres, but well, they failed to mention 25 or more acres of that's wetlands that he can't use. So really, you don't have that many acres to build on that he's stating. It just couldn't support that many wells and that many septic tanks, and that's such a small area. And then also, the plan seems to change every time we have a meeting. We've done had three, or well, one was canceled, but two, and every time he has a plan, he puts a different number of houses. First it says 68, now it's 60. And then he changes the value. First it's $200,000 houses, now it's $275,000 house. He has no set plan whatsoever. He just basically wants to sell the land, track it out, and make a profit for the landowner is what it's boiling down to, with no set direction or anything. Also, some of the area that you just showed up there, on this last plan, I saw there were several roads. That would also eat up at least 5 acres or more just for the roads. So now you're even taking more land away from what he originally proposed. All right, then also, never made any mention of the type of houses, the square footage. Are there lots for sale? Is there a builder? Never got into any specifics whatsoever on this. Then, first meeting, there was no mention of a retention pond. Then after some concerns were brought up, now all of a sudden there's a retention pond that's going to be built. So to me, that doesn't sound like there's a plan at all. He just constantly changes his mind on this thing just to get the sale is what it looks like it's boiling down to me. Also, why not just leave it to 5 acre tracts? 97% of that area is all estate agriculture, 5 acres or more. A mile and a half right down the street, there's a subdivision that was done like that, but they kept it 5 acres. Serendipity's right down there. It coincides with the area. That whole area, everyone out there bought land in that area because it was estate agriculture. Everybody out there's got horses. There's a riding stables and arenas across the street. All this is in that area, and to put that many houses in an area that's not designed for that, I just don't think it would fit. And it was mentioned that at the planning commission, they said the same thing. It don't coincide with the surrounding areas. I also heard someone mention at the last meeting we had here, the next zoning was RA, I think it was, because they said 5 acres, how about 2.5 acres? I don't know if that was on the table or what, but I heard it was mentioned at our last meeting that we had. I know, I think it was before the November meeting. I don't know which one of y'all
Mr.
mentioned.
Dunman, excuse me, I'm sorry. Mr. Dunman, would you mind having a seat, please? Go ahead, sir.
All right. But, also, the planning committee also made a statement that he said, Mr. Call keeps bringing up about the day in a circle, about the R1 there. Well, that was mentioned in the planning committee. They said they don't know when that got changed to R1. They don't know how or why, but they said it was a mistake then and it was a mistake now. And they said we have to live with it. That's what was said at that meeting. Now, to me, my thing is, if they're saying that was a mistake then and we got to live with it, why do you want to make even a bigger mistake now? That'd be my question to the committee. I mean, that's what your own planning committee, Lowndes County Planning Committee, said that at the last meeting. There again I think Mr. Call made a statement about the man who owns pride. I don't know his name, but anyway, said that he should be able to make a profit on his land. Well, if that's the case, and everybody feels that way, not every land purchase is a good deal. I can't help that somebody goes out and pays $1 million for farmland. That shouldn't be our problem that has happened. That's between the landowner and what he did back 10 years ago, whenever he bought it. We shouldn't have to be paying for that. So, I mean, that was made as a statement from Mr. Call at the last meeting we had, that he should be able to profit. And I don't agree with that at all. Shouldn't profit at the rest of the community expense. Also, Lowndes County made a commitment to the Environmental Protection Agency. I saw that on your website. Said that you closely monitor any excessive storm water runoff into the streams and rivers and use best management practice to prevent any excessive storm water runoff.
Sir, your time is up. Actually,
Okay.
you've used everybody else's time, but in the event, I will allow 2 more speakers, only if you've got something to add. Mr. Donovan, you've spoke twice already. Do you have anything else that you want to add to this?
I do.
Because I do know there's a couple that has not spoken.
I'm not going to repeat myself, I promise you that.
Okay. I'll give you about a minute. Can you say what you got to say in about a minute?
Yes,
Okay.
sir. Thank you. My name's Chuck Dunman, live at 5930 Valdale Road. Mr. Elliott has probably already addressed what I'm going to mention to y'all. If you approve the zoning tonight, you're approving a zoning on a 100-acre tract that is denied by the Planning Commission. It is outside of the comprehensive plan, and it has no county infrastructure at all. So to me, that's setting a heck of a legal precedence. That means that anybody can come in here with any 100-acre tract in Lowndes County and walk in here and request rezoning, and you're going to have a tough time legally defending that. A real hard time. So I just wanted to bring that to y'all's attention.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Sir.
Anyone else that would like to speak? Yes, sir. One at a time.
She said she was going with me. Thank y'all for
Okay.
having an invocation. I think that's remarkable. Chuck has covered a couple of my things, so I'm going to skip over that. But basically, there are 3 groups.
Sir, could you state your name and address?
I'm sorry, yes. State your name and
I'm
address for the
sorry,
record, please.
Jim Respis, Sharon Respis, 6002 Valdale Road. Okay? There are 3 organizations or groups of people that have looked at this thing. The first are 2 full-time professionals who deal with this and this alone, is my understanding. Both of them said deny it, both of them. So then it moves up to what I've been told is a zoning committee comprised of 7 people. They looked at it, they voted, 1 abstained, 1 who happens to be a builder said yes, 5 said denied. Then this group here, we've had about a dozen people come in. The only people who have said anything positive about it are representatives of the owner. Nobody else has said anything positive. Everybody else says deny. So my point is this: you got the professionals that are full-time county employees whose function it is to decide whether it fits a scheme or not a scheme, and they said no. They said no, denied. The zoning committee said denied. The group, other than the representative of the owner, said denied. What is it doing here? And the question I've got for y'all is, what is the impetus for bringing it even to a vote tonight? What's the structure behind that? And I don't know what it is, but I'd certainly like to know. Now, if it passes, then my suggestion as a tax-paying citizen of Lowndes County is to terminate the services of the two professionals. They're obviously not needed or listened to. The second thing is get rid of the zoning committee. They're irrelevant. The third thing is I don't think I'd let people like Chuck and me and anybody else even talk, because what they say apparently is irrelevant. That's my suggestion, and that's my request. Turn it down. You have anything to add?
Did I?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we got about 2.5 minutes. We've got time for one more speaker.
Michael Mayer, Valdell Road, would be adjacent to the development. The development would be just to the north of the property,
What's the physical address on Valdell?
5909 Valdell Road. Right now, we have a massive lake in the backyard to the north of us from all the flooding from the past rains. And it has affected our septic system already because of the massive rains. And when you look at your lot layout that you have there, what do you have for children? You're trying to put something in there that doesn't protect the children and the families. When you don't have enough space, you're trying to squeeze all these precious children into a piece of land, and you all have an oath of office. You are liable for the runoff. You are liable for many things that may happen from this if you let it pass through. So as an oath of office, I would carefully analyze this and look at everything that you need to make sure that it does not hurt anybody. Because if it hurts somebody, they have a right to sue you. You don't want that. You don't want anybody hurt, and you don't want our properties hurt, and you want everybody to come out blessed, but not at the I don't want to be hurt. I don't want kids hurt, and I know you don't either. So God bless you. Thank you for the time.
Thank you, sir. Okay, we'll now move on. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak in support of this request? Please come forward, state your name and address for the record, please.
Tom Call, 1108 Gornto Road. I'm here representing the landowner, GW Farms, and I'm back again in front of you guys. This is the second time. The first time the request was made to investigate, by this body, the request was made to investigate doing 1.5 acre lots. And, I think it was mentioned that we keep changing our plan. Well, part of that's true because we're trying to find the best plan that we could present to you guys and have a compromise. So, you guys were given the latest rendering that does show 60 lots, which is a 15% reduction in density from the plan that was originally put forward. The plan to ask for residential development has not changed. It's not a requirement of this board to put forth the size of the house or the price of the house. Some of the quotes that were attributed to me were mischaracterized. There was not that big of a gap in the price. I said 250 to 275 is the target market. That hasn't changed. That is the idea. But again, it's not required for this body to know what the price will be. We think that'll be the price and up. It'll go up from there. maximum of 60 lots equal to 1.66 acres per house. That's a big lot. That's a lot of land on for a home site. I guess Mr. Mayor referred to children. That's a big lot, 1.5 acres. Plenty of room for kids to play. It's not a high-density development. It's a low-density development. The traffic has already been addressed. The property has less than 10 acres of wetland. Again, another mischaracterization was given. There's less than 10 acres of wetland on the property that has been accounted for in the plan. If there's more that is discovered, obviously, by a soil scientist, obviously, we cannot impact that. Or the owner, whoever does the development, cannot impact that wetland by national regulations. So I'll turn it over to questions, but basically, I just wanted to put forward why the plan has changed and where we are today.
I know you talked about, Tom, you talked about the average lot size was 1.65 acres or whatever. What, the actual size of the lots, though, are they still 1 acre lots?
Well, some will be. There'll be a mix, but 60 maximum.
But 60 lots, but how much of that is road? How much is the wetlands that you figured out?
Well, there's about less than 10 acres of wetland. The lots will vary in size from 1 to, some of them may be 3 acres.
Ma'am, please. No commenting right now. We've had our opportunity. Go ahead.
I'll clarify the 1.66 acres. That is not per lot. That is houses, that is land per house average across the entire development,
Which includes your roads.
which does include the road.
Green
But that's
space.
density, yes. Green space, if there is any. So I don't want to mischaracterize that. I'm just saying the density has been reduced to that much for the whole property. So it will be, if it's R1 and there's a minimum of 60 lots, there won't be 61 acre lots and a bunch of green space. Those lots will be divided across that property, to get the density. There's no benefit in putting a bunch of 1 acre lots and leaving undeveloped land. So there will be 1.5, 2 acre lots and curves and however it best fits. Again, this is a concept that we intend to go with, but once engineering takes place, if we're capped at 60, we're capped at 60. And that's what the landowner's asking for.
Mr. Cole, in a letter that you furnished Molly, September 4th, 2018, you said that this property lends itself well to contribute to the solution of the growing shortage of affordable housing in rural Lowndes County. Is 250,000 to 275,000 affordable housing?
Well, I would, it certainly is for a lot of people because in the MLS, that's about 60% of all the sales. It's in that price range. So you have some at 60,000, you have some at 500,000, but the majority of home sales is between 200 and 300,000. So to answer your question, yes.
Yeah, when I think of affordable housing, I think of a much lesser priced house. Maybe
Okay,
I'm wrong.
Well, I don't mean low income and affordable in the same, to be analogous there, if that's what you're implying.
Okay. Any other questions for the speaker?
So, Mr. Call, your proposal is 60 lots total.
Total. Again, 15% reduction, what R1 would generally afford under the current plan.
Any other questions?
How many acres is wetlands?
It's estimated from the National Wetland Index at less than 10, a little more than 9, but less than 10. And that will have to be exactly determined prior to construction. The county requires it. Is that right? And obviously, if there's more, then that will impact the development, and it'll potentially be less homes. But right now, we anticipate it'll be that.
Okay. Any other questions?
Can we summarize the facts on this case?
I'm sorry?
Can we summarize the facts? There's a lot of information here.
we can as soon as, are you going, you're going to summarize the facts yourself?
Yes.
Okay. All right, are you through with the speaker?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank y'all.
Thank you, Mr. Cole. Is there anyone else in the audience who would like to speak in support of this request? Okay, hearing none, we'll close the public participation portion of the meeting and turn it back over to the commissioners. You can now summarize.
Okay. I'm sensitive to this because I live in an area real similar to this. I live on Hickory Grove Road. It's a connector road. It's narrow. And there's a lot of traffic out there. Most of us are on old family farms, but we do have some 1 acre places and down to 2 acres, 5 acres, but there's a lot of large places. I've got 55 acres. The traffic is a real issue to me. But let me summarize these facts real quick from what I gather from looking all this over. The property is depicted on the future development map as agricultural forestry character area. It's located approximately 1.5 miles outside the urban service area. It's not supported by the comprehensive plan. R1 zoning is not listed as the permitted zoning within an ag forestry character area. Planning recommended an alternative zoning of RA, which is 2.5 acres per lot, down from 5 acres. TRC reviewed and found that planning and zoning denied this request because it is inconsistent with the comprehensive plan. The September GLPC meeting, the owner's agent spoke for the request and 5 neighbors opposed the request. And tonight there's 9 or 10 neighbors opposing the request. Concerns of those speaking against were nearby wetlands, drainage issues, higher density creating increased traffic on Valdale Road. GLPC and staff recommended denial, 5-1. And I think we really need to pay attention, our planning commission and our staff. We got some good people out here doing a job every day. And they've turned this thing over quite a bit, and their recommendation is to deny. GLPC's comments and staff comments focused on density and the inconsistency, again, with the comprehensive plan. Those are the facts. You ready for a motion? Any other comments?
I was just trying to do the math, Mr. Chairman. I know you said 60 lots, and we got rid of 88 acres, look like, that would be able to be developed. It's 98 acres and minus 10 acres wetland, so we're looking at 88 acres of development. And when you look at possibly 60 houses, it don't quite equate to 1.66 per lot. And I guess that's a question I have, concern I had. I was trying to see how could he accommodate the requested amount of, homes or his objective with the amount of acreage that's actually available.
Okay, I'm not an engineer either or a surveyor, so I can't really tell you whether or not the plat is correct. I have to assume, since it was done by, appears to be a surveyor, that it is correct.
Yeah. But I know he said some of the lots will be less than 1.6. I know the average probably be 1.46. But
I believe what he said is some would be less than 1.66. Some would be more. The average was going to be 1.66.
I guess based on what I'm kind of...
Bottom line is it's 60 lots.
It's 60 lots, and some will be down to 1 lot, 1 acre, it looks
Could be,
like.
correct.
That's what I'm getting at.
That is correct.
So it looks like some of them might be 1 acre itself.
You're going to have some
Yeah.
1 acre lots.
Yes, that's correct. That would be correct. Okay.
So he would need 1 acre lots as well, possibly in the equation.
Yeah, I believe, if I'm correct, typically 1 acre lots is what's required for a well in the septic tank is a 1 acre lot.
That's
by the
right.
health department.
That's correct. That's right.
So it would have to be the minimum for that. Okay, any other questions? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to deny, given the facts, which are undisputed.
We have a motion from Mr. Weisenbaker to deny. Do we have a second? Hearing no second, the motion fails for a lack of a second. I'll entertain a motion.
I move that we approve with 60 lots maximum.
We have a motion to approve the request with a maximum of 60 lots. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. Any discussion? All right, I'll call the vote. All in favor signify by raising your right hand. That's 2. All opposed, raise your right hand. That's 3. So the motion fails.
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioners, I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve with lot size 2.5 as recommended by staff.
Okay, we have a motion to approve the request at 2.5 acres as recommended by staff. Do we have a second?
Second.
We now have a second. We'll call the vote. All in favor of the motion signify by raising your right hand. Unanimous. Motion carries. Okay, we'll now move on to,
I'd like to, for the attorney to make a comment.
sure, go right
concerning-
ahead.
Well, just for the staff and the.
If you'll please turn your microphone on, sir.
That's effectively rezoning it to RA,
Yes.
so that the map would reflect an RA zoning. Is that?
That's what the markers wanted.
That's the request.
They just need to carry forward your action.
Okay? All right, since that's cleared up, we'll move on now to agenda item 5B. That is REZ 2018-19, Traditions Flooring. I'll give these folks an opportunity to leave since their business has been done.
Split the baby.
Okay, our next case is agenda item 5B, that is REZ 2018-19. It is Traditions Flooring. It's located on Old US 41 North. It is currently R1. The request is for CG. It has county water and sewer. It involves 1.09 acres. Ms. Stevenson?
Thank you. Again, staff has nothing to add to yesterday's report.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Stevenson. Any questions for Ms. Stevenson? Okay, hearing none, we'll open up the public participation portion of the meeting, the public hearing. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak in opposition to this request? Anyone that would like to speak in opposition to the request? Okay, hearing none, is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak in favor of this request? Anyone that would like to speak in favor? Hearing none, I'll close the public participation portion of the meeting and turn it over to the commissioners for your consideration.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
I move that we approve as presented.
Okay, we have a motion to approve as presented. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, I'll call the vote. All in favor signify by raising your right hand. Unanimous. Motion carries. Agenda item 6A is the amendment to the existing 5311 third-party operating agreement. Ms. Stevenson?
Thank you. This request, as staff spoke yesterday, is in order to bring into compliance the 5311 GDOT current TPO contract to take into consideration the recent reimbursement policy changes.
Any questions for Ms. Stevens? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve the amendment to the agreement and authorize the chairman to execute it for the county.
Do we have a motion to approve the amendment to the agreement and authorize the chairman to execute this agreement for the county? Do I have a second?
Second.
We have a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the vote. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, like sign. Hearing none, the motion carries. Agenda item 6B is the approval of the third-party operator contract for 5311 Public Transportation Program. Ms. Stevenson?
Thank you.
Thank you.
The current contract with MIDS Transportation Incorporated expires on December 31st of this year, and this is a new contract as they were the only people who responded to the RFP.
Any questions for Ms. Stevens? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve with MIDS Transportation.
Do we have a motion to approve the agreement with MIDS Transportation? We have a second. We have a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the vote. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, like sign. Hearing none, the motion carries. Agenda item 6C is the Georgia Department of Transportation's Local Maintenance and Improvement Grant known as LMIG. Mr. Fletcher?
Yes, sir. This is the 2019 LMIG grant from GDOT, which will give the county $1,148,850.96. And as we stated yesterday, this has a 10% match due to the recent passing of T-Splost. And Commissioner Marshall, your question yesterday regarding Bemis Knights Academy Road, this does go from Knights Academy down to Studstill.
All right, thanks.
Any other questions for Mr. Fletcher?
This LMIG list, is it for 2019 period?
Yes, sir. This is what will be resurfaced in 2019.
No additions to this? There can be no additions to this?
I mean, we can add roads if we need to for resurfacing. But I mean, this is just for the grant. We have to turn this in for the grant.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to authorize the chairman to sign 2019 LMIG application.
We have a motion to authorize the chairman to sign the 2019 LMIG application. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the vote. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, like sign. Hearing none, the motion carries. Agenda item 6D is the abandonment of an unopened right-of-way off of Reed Road. Mr. Fletcher?
Yes, sir. This is the first step in abandoning some unopened, unused right-of-way, which is off of Reed, at the end of Reed Road, between where the county stopped paving and the river. This was abandoned back in the late 80s when the bridge went out over the Withlacoochee River. And it's currently gated off. This just helps to clean up this piece of right-of-way.
Okay. Any questions for Mr. Fletcher? Okay, hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
I move we make the required determination.
And the required determination would be that the road no longer has a substantial public purpose that's served by it.
Yeah, what you said.
That'll work?
Yes, sir, thank you.
All right. With that, do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the vote. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, like sign. Hearing none, the motion carries. Agenda item 6E is to adopt the resolution accepting the infrastructure for Creekside West subdivision Phase 3C. Mr. Fletcher?
Yes, sir. Creekside West subdivision 3C. This is acceptance of infrastructure. This will be water and sewer only. The roads and the drainage system will remain private.
Any questions for Mr. Fletcher? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to adopt the resolution.
Do we have a motion to adopt the resolution? Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the vote. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, like sign. Hearing none, the motion carries. Agenda item 6F is the adoption of the 2019-2020 budget calendar. Ms. Black?
Yes, sir. You have before you the proposed budget calendar for fiscal year 2020. We've already begun preparations. All the packages have gone out. The most important deadline on here is to have the budget approved by June 30th, but this gives you the milestones and the timeline for the rest of the budget process.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Black. Any questions for Ms. Black? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
I move we adopt the budget calendar fiscal year 2019-2020.
We have a motion to adopt the budget calendar for FY 2019-2020. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, I'll call the vote. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, like sign. Hearing none, the motion carries. Agenda item 6G is a beer license for Bigfoot Travel Center at number 926, located at 7212 Lakes Boulevard in Lake Park. Ms. Black?
Yes, sir. This is a request for the sale of beer for consumption off premise and is due to a change of ownership.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Any questions for Ms. Black? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve the beer license.
We have a motion to approve the beer license. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, I'll call the vote. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, like sign. Hearing none, the motion carries. Agenda item 6H is a beer, wine, and liquor license for Southern Comforts Liquor Stop. It's located at 3954 Old Highway 41 in Valdosta. Ms. Black?
Yes, sir. This is also due to a change of ownership and is for beer, wine, and liquor for consumption off premise.
Okay. Any questions for Ms. Black? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
I move we approve the beer, wine, and liquor license.
We have a motion to approve the beer, wine, and liquor license. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll call the vote. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, like sign. Hearing none, the motion carries. Agenda 6I is the 2019 holiday schedule. Mr. Beals?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, each year we bring forth the holiday schedule. We put it together in accordance with the Lowndes County Policy and Procedure Manual. Currently, Lowndes County observes 8 holidays that span a total of 10 working days.
Any questions for Mr. Beals? All right. No questions, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
We have a motion to approve the 2019 holiday schedule in accordance with the Lowndes County Personnel Policy.
Yes, sir.
Second.
We have a second. We have a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the vote. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, like sign. Hearing none, the motion carries. Agenda item 6J is the Section 125 Plan Document Renewal for 2019. Mr. Beals?
Yes, sir. The Section 125 plan renewal is for a premium-only plan. It provides a pre-tax deduction for all of our employees. So by going through these particular measures, we're staying compliant with IRS regulations. So there's only certain items, qualified health programs, that can actually be placed on there, medical, dental, vision. So we've come in here tonight to get approval for that for the 2019 year.
Any questions for Mr. Beals? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to adopt the Section 125 Premium Only Plan for 2019 and authorize the chairman to sign the certificate of resolution and adoption agreement.
Do we have a motion to adopt the Section 125 Premium Only Plan for 2019 and authorize the chairman to sign the certificate of resolution and adopt the agreement? We have a second. We have a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the vote. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, like sign. Hearing none, the motion carries. Agenda item 6K is the workers' compensation insurance renewal. Mr. Beals?
Yes, this renewal is for our ACCG Group Self-Insurance Workers' Compensation Fund. It's our annual renewal. Last couple of years, we've seen a few increases in regards to our total premium. This year, we've realized at least a 6.9% reduction. You couple that with premium cost reductions for savings with our loss control program and dividend credit, that brings us to $222,607. So this is $24,000 less than last year.
Any questions from Mr. Beals? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve workers' compensation insurance coverage renewal through the GCIWCF.
Do we have a motion to approve the workers' compensation insurance coverage renewal through GCIWCF? Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second.
SECOND.
Yeah. All right. We're doing good, so let's move on. All right. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, I'll call the vote. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Agenda item 6L is the stop-loss insurance coverage through Blue Cross Blue Shield of Georgia and its annual administrative services agreement through Allied Benefits. Mr. Beals.
Yes, stop-loss insurance, as we talked about yesterday, is an excess risk coverage. It's basically insurance for your insurance for any one large claim. Epic is our health insurance broker. Each year they market our stop-loss insurance coverage, and this year they've come back and indicated that Blue Cross Blue Shield of Georgia is offering Lowndes County with the lowest available rates for the upcoming year, with continued administrative services going through Allied Benefits, who is our TPA.
Any questions from Mr. Beals? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve stop-loss insurance coverage?
Do we have a motion to approve the stop-loss insurance coverage through Blue Cross Blue Shield of Georgia and the administrative services agreement through Allied Benefits? That's your motion.
That's correct.
Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, I'll call the vote. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, like sign. Hearing none, the motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Beals. Next time that much, we'll have to get you a chair up here. All right, agenda item 6M is the approval of the 2019 commission meeting calendar. Mr. Pritchard.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, you have before you the proposed meeting schedule for the commissioners, including holidays as well as the ACCG conference schedule. And to answer the question yesterday, if our work session falls on a holiday, we will propose to conduct the work session the morning of our scheduled meeting.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Any questions for Mr. Pritchard? Okay, hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve the 2019 commission meeting calendar?
Okay, we have a motion to approve the 2019 commission meeting calendar. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the vote. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, like sign. Hearing none, the motion's approved. Agenda item 6N is the resolution authorizing the Valdosta Housing Authority to issue bonds. Mr. Pritchard.
Mr. Chairman, this item has come before you before, and due to some changes that has been presented and explained to you yesterday by the county attorney, this item is for your adoption of this resolution, and staff is recommending your adoption.
Okay, thank you, sir. Any questions for Mr. Pritchard?
Mr. Chairman, I was recusing myself from voting.
Okay, let it be noted that Ms. Evans has recused herself. All right. Any questions for Mr. Pritchard? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve resolution as presented?
We have a motion to approve the resolution as presented. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, I'll call the vote. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, like sign. Hearing none, the motion carries. Ms. Evans recused herself. Agenda item 6O is the Hazard Mitigation Grant Program application. Mr. Green?
Chairman, Commissioners, this is a request for the chairman to sign a grant application. Our current grant for the hazard mitigation runs out February 2022. And the request is for him to sign the application to help us get future funding.
Any questions for Mr. Green? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
I move we authorize the chairman to sign the grant application for submission to GEMA.
We have a motion to authorize the chairman to sign the grant application for submission to GEMA. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, I'll call the vote. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, like sign. Hearing none, the motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Green. Agenda item 6P is a request to purchase demo rescue equipment. Mr. Williams?
Mr. Chairman, Commission, Chief Ty presented you with a quote purchase for replacing some extrication equipment. It's the purchase of 2 more sets of demo equipment and a set of airbags. Other than that, I don't really have anything different.
Okay, I am sure Mr. Williams is hoping for no questions, but I'll raise that if you have any questions. If not, I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move we authorize the purchase of the demo extraction in the amount of $55,000.
Do we have a motion to purchase the demo extrication in the amount of $55,000? Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the vote. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, like sign. Hearing none, the motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Williams. Agenda item 6Q is the Office of the Governor's Criminal Justice Coordinating Council, the Accountability Court, the Lowndes County DUI Court, and the State Court. I don't see Ms. Bass in the meeting tonight. She made her presentation at yesterday's meeting. Are there any questions in regards to that agenda item? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
We have a motion to approve the request. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, like sign. Hearing none, the motion carries. Agenda item 6R is the Georgia Services Administration Public Building Service Lease Amendment for the Georgia County USDA Service Center. Mr. McLeod, how are you doing?
Good, thank you, sir. The current lease agreement between Lowndes County and the United States of America will expire on December 31st, 2018 for the USDA Center on Hill Avenue. This proposed lease amendment will extend the current lease until December 31st, 2020. The proposed lease amendment is for annual rent of $32,000 at a rate of $2,668.67 per month.
Any questions from Mr. McLeod? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the lease agreement for Georgia County USDA Service Center and authorize the chairman to sign the lease agreement.
Okay, we have a motion to approve the lease amendment for the Georgia County USDA Service Center and authorize the chairman to sign the lease amendment. We have a second.
Second.
We have a second. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, I'll call the vote. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, like sign. Hearing none, the motion carries. Thank you, Mr. McLeod. Agenda item 7A is the sale of surplus Lakes Boulevard property. Mr. McLeod.
Yes, sir. The county has surplus real property of approximately 60 feet by 129 feet off of Lakes Boulevard that is no longer in use. The Utilities Department previously operated a water well and water tower at the property. Both were removed around 1997. State law requires the county to dispose of this property by either public auction or sealed bid. J.I. Sitaram LLC submitted the only bid for $6,500 for the property through a sealed bid process. The county had set a minimum of $6,000 minimum bid requirement. The county will convey the property with the attached quitclaim deed in your packet.
Okay. Any questions from Mr. McLeod? Okay. Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to accept the $6,500 bid, approve the sale of Lakes Boulevard property, and authorize the chairman to execute and clerk to execute and deliver the quitclaim deed. We have a motion to accept Mr. Sitaram's
LLC $6,500 bid and approve the sale of the Lakes Boulevard property and approve and authorize the chairman and clerk to execute and deliver the quitclaim deed.
Yes, sir.
Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the vote. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, like sign. Hearing none, the motion carries. Agenda item 8, County Manager's Report. Mr. Pritchard.
Mr. Chairman and Commissioners, as a result of the recent heavy rains, you're all aware that we have had a number of roads that were damaged and some that are still not passable. One of the ones that is most needy at this time is Martin Lane. I requested the county engineer to seek ways to get that road back open as soon as possible, and declaring this an emergency. You have before you two options, and with the subsequent quotes of those changes or the improvements, one of which is $35,500. The second one is $40,500. Mike, if you would explain the difference in those two for the commission?
The first option would just be to install a 8.5-foot diameter steel pipe under the road. And that would, basically the pond that is there now would no longer exist. The water would just pass through, just like a wetland area. It would, just come in and go out, and whatever water detained in there, it would detain, but it would just basically be like a culvert pipe that it would pass through. That's the $35,500 option. The $40,500 option would be to establish a 4-foot water level where we would weld an additional piece onto the pipe to extend it out into the pond a little bit, and have a 4-foot water level plate welded onto it, so there would be 4 foot of water held in the pond, and then there'd be a 4.5-foot freeboard that the water could spill over whenever the rains came. So that would be our two choices. Basically, the difference is the cost of the welding. That welding that pipe is just, it's a very expensive process.
Any other questions for Mr. Fletcher?
Just
Prior
one.
to the storm,
Oh, yeah. Go ahead.
the pond was holding water.
Yes, sir, it was. It was holding water prior to the storm.
Also, Mike, for the record, what's the name of the company?
It is Swilly Farms. Swilly Farms, that's,
Mr. Kevin Swilly?
Yes, sir. Because the road is basically the dam of the pond, our public works guys, and I am not a dam expert, and I know how to a dam building expert. So we will. I have sought leadership and guidance from Kevin and Tim Swilly, who know what they're doing as far as building a dam.
Okay.
So this is an emergency, therefore we don't have a bid system out, right?
Correct.
That's correct. Any other questions? Commissioners, I'd like to say, before a motion is made, I would like to say that I feel like the importance of going with option 2 of the $40,500 for those folks. This is our road, and as Mr. Fletcher said, the road is actually the dam, and Mr. Swilly will be able to put that back. But if we don't put it back to where the pond will have water in it, then we're not providing it back the way it was for those folks that live there on Martin Lane. So with that, Commissioners, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve with option 2 for $40,500.
Do we have a motion to approve option 2, which the total is $40,500 for the repair to Martin Lane from Swilly Farms?
Second.
We have a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the vote. All in favor signify by aye. Aye. Any opposed, like sign. Hearing none, the motion carries.
Mr. Chairman, in addition to that, we have, Robin, you can correct me on this, I think we have approximately 7 roads that are currently closed or in some state of repair, one of which is Martin Lane that you just acted upon. The other one that is listed for your consideration, just for your knowledge really, is Carter Way off Old Quitman, and this road is a private road, but I believe you have received a number of calls and requests for assistance of getting individuals in and out of that particular road. The fire department, Lloyd and Gary have been out there a number of times and made efforts that individuals who were either sick or had some particular need to get out, they were providing that assistance to them. Any additions to that, Robin? I would like to express my appreciation to Robin, the staff, all of the firefighters and emergency responders that went above and beyond in order to meet the needs of the citizens during that particular weather event, and as well as getting voting machines out to the particular voting polls that day. And not last but not least, the efforts of Public Works that put together the courthouse decorations. I have had numerous comments about the courthouse square and how well it looks, and Robin and her staff and Susan Mullis all worked very, very hard, and I appreciate their efforts. And on behalf of the of the employees of the county, we would like to express our appreciation. Merry Christmas to the commission and the citizens.
Thank you, Mr. Pritchard. There's not a whole lot more really than I can add to that, other than as a representative for the citizens of Lowndes County, again, I certainly appreciate, and I know that they appreciate the efforts that each and every one of you went to. I know that there were some that really, they worked long, hard hours, trying, number one, from a public safety standpoint, to make sure that roads that needed to be barricaded and needed to be protected, that those were done so that there was no injuries to citizens in the community. Worked late hours trying to make sure all those areas were secure. And then again, for example, the Carter Way and the Martin Lane issue of trying to make sure that some of those citizens had ways to get in and out. And I know that we basically run an SUV through there in a lot of different occasions, trying to get them out, because that really was the only way that they could get in and out of their homes. I know it took a lot of time to do that, and I'm very, very appreciative of that. Ms. Cummings, I will also say that there has been a tremendous amount of positive comments about our historical courthouse and how well it looks, from the lights, from the tree, from all the decorations and all the hard work that your staff has put forward on that. And certainly we as a commission, I know this particular commission, are so very, very much appreciative of all those efforts that everybody has put forward, not only in this event, but for this entire year, to serve the citizens of Lowndes County. So again, I very, very much appreciate that, and thank you all very, very much for that. I also want to wish each and every one of you a very Merry Christmas, a very safe and happy holidays. You know, we've got a lot that we're going to that we want to try to get done next year. So again, we appreciate you all, and thank you very much. Commissioners, anyone would like to add anything?
Robin does an exceptional job, as you just stated. on top of all this, she removes mattresses and box springs off the sides of county roads. Thank you, Robin.
The Public Works has become so popular that even Santa Claus is now part of Public Works.
Yeah, she keeps this up. We're gonna need to designate a specific month, like December looks like a good one for Public Workers Month. That'd be a good way to go. Okay, commissioners, I want to thank each one of you too for your dedication to the citizens of Lowndes County and all of the hard work and the time that you have put forward in trying to serve the citizens of this community. Sometimes it's not an easy task. Sometimes you have to make decisions that are tough decisions and they're hard decisions. But I've always had complete confidence in you that you will make the right decision. And for that, I'm very, very appreciative of that. And as chairman, each one of you make my job a lot easier. So again, I thank you very much for that. So Merry Christmas to each one of you. If there is no other business, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Is there any real estate business? Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. Mr. Chairman, did we do citizens to be heard? Did we do citizens to be heard?
We didn't have any.
I'm sorry?
Did we do citizens to be heard?
Oh, I'm sorry, we're done. We're done.
Okay.